Okay, so hello all, good morning. Good morning to Diksha classroom. We'll be starting our webinar, paper one webinar. Okay, so once again, welcome all to Diksha classroom's paper one webinar. So in this particular webinar, we'll be basically discussing four important aspects related with our NTA NET exams. And firstly, we'll be discussing about some important points regarding UGC NET, and many of our friends are having some confusions regarding the qualifications, the validity, etc. So firstly, we'll be discussing about important points on UGC NET, and after that, we'll be discussing the importance of paper one in this particular exam. After that, we'll be discussing how to prepare, and finally, we'll be discussing how Diksha works. And if you are anybody yet to download Diksha ebook of previous questions, we'll be also providing you the link for the same. Okay, link for the same. So before going to details regarding all these particular aspects, let me make sure that my sound is audible to all of you and also the screen is visible. So just tell me or just type Y in the chat box if my sound is audible and the screen is visible. So we'll be continuing with the session, just to know before the starting of all the topics that we are going to discuss. Yeah, so many of you are responding. Thank you. Yeah, let me check it. Yeah, it seems to be good and it seems to be audible and it seems to be visible. So if you face any technical error in between during the course of webinar, just type it in the chat box. Our technical team is also available. Definitely they will be replying in fastly, okay, immediately. So before going to this 4 points that we are supposed to discuss in this particular webinar, let me tell you something about myself. I'm Anis Purti, and I'm a JRF holder in psychology and a NET holder in public administration and comparative study of religion. I am the CEO of Diksha Classroom, also the academic head with regards to paper one. So that's it. And so let's go to the topic. So firstly, in this particular webinar, I will be discussing some aspects related to UGC NTA NET examination. Some general aspects. Most of you will be knowing regarding all these aspects, but some of our friends have asked me some questions regarding, especially regarding the academic qualifications, if the PG first sem student, whether the PG first sem student can attend it or not, and the validity of both NET and JRF, etc. So I will just clarifying some aspects related to this one, and this is only for the freshers, okay, those who are yet to go in deep regarding the exams and other things. So the first aspect, I hope you know what is the importance of UGC and NTA-NET, and if you don't know that, you will not be attending this webinar, so there is no need of discussing in detail regarding what are the importance of this particular exams. So simply we can say that NET or National Eligibility Test is a qualification or is an eligibility test that is required by candidates or students in India to be qualified the post of, okay, assistant professor. Okay, assistant professor post. For qualification, you need this particular qualification. You have to qualify NET, and for both NET and JRF, you will be knowing that we have the same exam. NET is for the qualification purpose of assistant professor, while JRF is junior research fellowship, which means you will be getting fellowship for having or going through your research for PhD or doctoral purpose. So for this purpose, whether you want to qualify or whether you want to be appointed or whether you want to join as an assistant professor in any colleges across India, or whether you want to pursue PhD with government fellowship, with UGC fellowships, you have to qualify this particular exam. So for both NET and JRF, you'll be knowing we have the same exam. The only difference is that the cutoff will be different. For NET, it will be less, and for JRF, it will be a bit higher, maybe 5 to 10% difference, depending upon the subject as well as the category to which you belong. Okay, so that's an important aspect. And also you will be knowing that recently, before 1 or 2 years, the government or the HRD ministry have clarified that PhD degree has been made mandatory for promotion to assistant professor selection grade in colleges from 2021. And also PhD degree will be mandatory for direct recruitment to assistant professors in universities from 2021 onwards. So that's a decision made by the Human Resource Development or HRD Ministry. So for the future, if you want to be a assistant professor in different grades, or if you want to be an assistant professor in university system, PhD is compulsory. That's a place, or that's a vacuum where your JRF is going to be very significant in the future. Since the government has made PhD as a compulsory from 2021 onwards, now a lot of students are trying hard to qualify or to qualify for the JRF fellowship. So that's aspect why NET, why JRF. Very simply, we have explained. And the next aspect is academic qualification. So many of our friends or many of our students seems to have a doubt regarding this one. Especially the doubt is whether a student who just joined for PG, or a student who is studying in the first semester or second semester, or just registered for the PG, can attend the particular exam. That's a question. If so, within what duration or within what time frame, okay, they have to complete their PG. For example, if a student completes the JRF in the first semester itself, or qualify JRF in the first semester of PG itself, so what will be the time frame available for that particular students, so as to make sure that his or her JRF remains valid? So that's the second aspect we will be discussing regarding academic qualification. So when it comes to academic qualification for writing NET, as per UGC, the only compulsory provision is that you should have a post-graduation degree from any recognized university under UGC. It doesn't matter whether your post-graduation is from regular mode or distant mode, provided that regular and distant mode has a recognition from UGC to conduct that specified course. And when it comes to those who are attending the PG, for example, if you are in the first semester of your post-graduation, whether you can attend, and what will be the time frame for you to complete the PG, as per UGC, the rule is simple. Okay, the rule is simple that they says that you should complete your PG within 2 years after the result, from the date of the result of the NET exam. For example, I will show you by quoting some dates. Suppose the last exam, that is the 2019 December exam, the result came on 2019 December 31. December 31, 2019 is a result declaration date of 2019 December exam, suppose, and you are studying in the first sum of, okay, you qualified NET or you qualified JRF in the first sum itself, that is you have joined your post-graduation in 2019, okay, you have joined 2019 June July admission cycle, so you qualified NET or JRF in the same in the first sum itself before even attending any PG exam. So the rule is that if this is the date of declaration of results as per UGC within 2 years, which means just after, if you calculate 2 years, that will be December 31st, 2021. Okay, so if your PG will get completed, or if your post-graduation will get completed by December 31, 2021, then your NET or then your JRF that you got in December 2019 exam will remain valid. Okay, so that's the rule. It's not about whether what will be the time frame when you apply the test, or what is the time frame when you join the PG. It's all about the result date. So if you can complete the PG within 2 years from the date of the declaration of result, so your exam or your NET or JRF will remain valid. Which means if you have just registered for PG, or if you are in the first sem of PG, you can start writing this exam. It's not compulsory that you have to complete your post-graduation, or you should be in the second year or the third sem or the fourth sem. So I hope you are clear regarding that aspect, what is academic qualification regarding or for writing this particular NET exam. And also similarly, there is next aspect is regarding validity. Okay, especially students seems to have doubts regarding the validity of the JRF itself. Okay, so if you have any doubts regarding any of the aspect we are discussing, you can put it in the comment section or the chat section. We will be answering it after a few minutes or after completing a few topics. So when it comes to validity, let me tell you that there is no validity tenure for the NET. specified, provided that you complete your net within this your post graduation within this 2 years of time frame, then we can say that your net will be valid for a lifetime. Okay, or if you completed your post graduation, then you attended the net exam and you qualified the net, so your net will be valid for the lifetime. Okay, there is no need of trying for the net again and again. Okay, at the same time, there is specific validity for JRF. Okay, it's another area that seems to be a bit confused by many of the students, especially those students who qualify JRF within the first sem itself, first sem or the first year of the post graduation itself. So the condition for JRF validity is that after you qualify JRF, or after the sorry, after the results are out, you will receive a JRF award letter. Previously, they would have sent it by postal to your home, but now onwards, from the last exam onwards, they have provided it in the digital format. Just after the result, you can download it from the NTA website itself, okay, or the NTA or the UGC website itself, the JRF award letter. So within the JRF award letter, there will be a date, okay, the date of awarding that particular award letter. So the validity of JRF award letter will be within 3 years from the date of awarding. For example, suppose the last exam December 31st, the exam in which the result came December 31st, 2019. Imagine that they published the JRF award letter on the same day of December 31, 2019. Okay, they published the result and award letter on the same day. You know that you have to complete your post-graduation within 2 years, but you can join or you can avail the fellowship of that particular JRF till 3 years from the date of, not result, from the date of award letter. If both are same, then the same date, but from the date of award letter. So suppose the date of award JRF award letter for the last exam is December 31, 2019. That JRF fellowship will be valid till December 31st, count 3 years, 2022. Okay, 2022. So if you can join for a PhD within 2022 December 31, your JRF that you qualified in the first sum or the second sum or after completing the PG will remain valid. Okay, and the validity of it's all about the validity for joining you using that particular JRF award letter. But when it comes to the fellowship amount or the fellowship tenure, I hope you know regarding that, JRF, you get the fellowship for almost 2 years. Okay, for JRF, you get fellowship for 2 years. And after 2 years, there will be a review of your work, and most probably you will be moved up to SRF, which is known as Senior Research Fellowship. JRF is not for 5 years, JRF is for 2 years. It's Junior Research Fellowship. So after your 2 years of research, it will be reviewed and you will be moved to next phase, that is SRF, Senior Research Fellowship. That's for 3 years. So if you join for any PhD within 3 years after the JRF award letter, you will get fellowship for almost 5 years. Okay, almost 5 years, the fellowship facility will be available for almost 5 years. And also, I hope you know regarding the fellowship. Okay. Yeah. 31 December to 31 December 2013 means, yeah, this is 2 years. Okay, this is all about the time frame within which you have to complete your post graduation. Okay, that's the reason why we write that particular date on the screen. Yeah, we have some doubts coming. I will be answering all those once we reach in a particular question. So this second one, December 31 to 2022, that's all about joining for the JRF. Okay, so don't get confused. The first one is the time frame within which you have to complete your post graduation, that is 2 years from the date of the result. And the second one is the time frame within which you have to join for the JRF, that's 3 years from the tenure of or the date that is on the JRF award letter. So that's all about the validity regarding JRF or validity regarding net. And when it comes to age limit, yeah, let me look some questions. Sir, what if one has qualified net assistant professor but has not joined any university? How long will the qualification be valid? Okay, Adarsh has answered the question itself. So net qualification is valid for a lifetime. Okay, so if you qualified net in the 25th, when you are 25 years old, and with using the same qualification, you can join assistant professor at age of 50 if there is a provision to join at age of 50. Okay, so I'm not discussing about the age in which you want to join. So if within 50, when you are 50 years old, when you are 60 years old, that net will be valid. The validity aspect or the validity confusions is there only with regards to JRF, the tenure in which you have to join for JRF so as to avail the fellowship. So next, coming to age limit. Okay, when it comes to age limit, there is no age limit for net. Okay, if you want to attend net, or if your aim is net, there is no confusion regarding the age. You can try for net when you are 40 years old, when you are 50 years old, when you are 60 years old, when you are 70 years old. The only condition is you should be in a sound health condition to write an online exam. That's only condition. It doesn't matter what is your age is, provided you have a post-graduation qualification or you are appearing for a post-graduation. Okay, that's a compulsory provision. Other than that, there is no age limit for appearing for net exam. But definitely there is an age limit for JRF. Okay, there is an age limit for JRF. So if you are appearing for JRF, then age limit is for general category, it is for 30 years old. So as per the latest rule, the notification it was you shouldn't complete 30 years as of 1st June 2019. That was date as per, sorry, 2020. As per the recently released notification, which lagged due to COVID up to 3 months. Okay, so up to 30 years old, you can try for JRF if you are general category. So from other categories for like CST, OBC, etc., they are providing age relaxation, and normally up to 5 years of age relaxation is provided. Okay, 5 years of age relaxation is provided. So that's all about age limit. Remember, there is no age limit with regards to what we can say net exam. There is only age limit if your aim is for JRF or junior research fellowship. Okay, so that's it. Then when it comes to the fifth point, we have the benefits. So what is the benefits of net? I told you, for becoming an assistant professor in any colleges, net is compulsory. And when it comes to JRF, definitely I told you that after 2021, the government has made PhD compulsory in different selection grade as well as in university departments. So it's compulsory that you should have PhD if you have a big career expansion dreams. And also, since PhD is becoming more and more competitive these days, JRF is becoming more competitive, because if you qualify JRF in your respective subject, along with fellowship, you have certain academic benefits also. Normally, you can you can attend interview for PhD without any entrance if you are JRF scholars. In most of the universities, you can directly go for the interview purpose for the PhD. And definitely in most of the cases, there will be some JRF quota also. Okay, they will be selecting whether it's MPhil or PhD, they will be selecting students from the JRF quota also. Okay, so it's if you have qualified JRF, there is very high probability, or it's nearly 100% probability, then you can get a PhD admission. It's not sure that, or it's not compulsory that you should get the admission in your favorite institute, but one thing is, you are most probably nearly 100% you will get an admission for JRF in any university in India. Okay, so that's the benefit of JRF. And also, when it comes to monetary aspect, as of now, around 31,000 is for JRF and 35,000 is for SRF. And there are some, what we can say, other aspects also, some HR, housing and rent allowance, etc. So simply we can say that within 5 years of your research, you will get a fellowship of more than 25 lakhs. Okay, within 5 years of research, UGC or the education department is giving you more than 25 lakh rupees in fellowship, and so as to make sure you are doing a good research, so as to make sure that financial burden doesn't hurdle your research purpose. So qualifying for JRF is very significant if you have bigger career expansion dreams. if your dream is to get PhD, or after that if you want to go up for PDF and other aspects. So these are the some important aspects that I have to say regarding UGC and TNET. And if there is any more doubts, I will be clarifying those, and I will be moving to next aspect. Sir, what if I pass in NET but I don't have required score in post graduation? Definitely you can go for supplementary examination is there. You can attend supplementary examination. Within that 2-year time frame, you can do whatever is provided in the academic platform. So for example, if you are in the you just fail in the exam itself, or you doesn't have the required qualification just after the NET qualification, so within 2 years from within 2 years from the result of the exam in which you qualified NET, you want to you should be passed of post graduation. Okay, you have to qualify post graduation. If still you fail, that particular NET will become invalid. You want to qualify post graduation, and you would have to try for NET again. Okay, that's it. Yeah. How many attempts are there for UGC, NET and JRF? Specifically, there are no attempt limits with regards to NET and JRF. For NET, there is no attempt limit. You can write NET until you are alive. Okay, any number of time you can write NET. But when it comes to JRF, there is specifically no time limit, but there will be a time limit depending upon your age. For example, if you are 25 years old and you belong to a general category, 30 will be the limit, so you will have a 5 years. So suppose there is NET exam happening in 2 times or twice in every year, you will have a maximum attempt of 10. But if you have started writing NET exam when you are 23 years old, you have 7 years time frame. So the total attempt supposing that twice exams is happening in every year, will be 40. And if you are from a reserve category and you start from 25 years, 25 year itself, there is only 10 years, the attempt will be 20 times for JRF. Okay, so there is no specific number of attempts with regards to there is no specific number of attempts with regards to you can try for NET, but when it comes to JRF, there is specific attempt, and it's related with your age. It's not about a particular number, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Instead, when you reach that peak age, or when you reach that limited age, your attempt will be stopping. Can we change the application form regarding the form applying form for only assistant professor? Yeah, actually they provide facility for correction after the application is closed, and usually that time they will be providing such an option, I think. So definitely after 1 or 2 weeks, or after there is a clarity regarding when the exam is going to happen, etc., they will provide such an option. Okay, yeah. With only UGC NET qualified, will there be good chances to get PhD in most of the? It's not compulsory. I think it's not compulsory that you should have a JRF so as to pursue for PhD, but it's compulsory in most of the universities you should have a NET. Else you should be working as an assistant professor from the long before. There is some rule differences from state to state. If you are qualified state eligibility test and you are working pre 2002, there are certain such rules. But when it comes to the present generation, or when it comes to our generation, in most of the cases it's compulsory you should have NET so as to pursue the PhD. In most of the cases, JRF is not compulsory, but your chances of getting selected for the PhD degree or for pursuing or starting your research will be further multiplied if you have a JRF qualification. Yeah. Yeah, regarding the current examination date, we'll be discussing later, okay? In this webinar, in the last aspect, when it comes to the preparation aspect, we'll be discussing regarding date and other things. So we have some more aspects to discuss. So going to next aspect, that is the importance of paper 1. Okay, importance of paper 1 is the next aspect. So we have I hope you know regarding the UGC NET exam, you have a paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 will be a common paper, and paper 2 will be a subject paper. Okay, paper 2 is a subject paper. So if you commerce, your paper 2 will be subject, and paper 1 is for all subject. So what is the importance of paper 1? we can definitely there is importance for paper 2 also. Since we are discussing about paper 1, I will be discussing only about the importance of paper 1. Many of you are asking me certain doubts regarding different aspects related with the exam. Once I complete this particular slide, I will be answering all those questions. If you have any doubts, you can put it in the chat box at any time. Okay, I will be going through all the doubts one by one once I complete this particular slide. Okay, so that it does not affect our flow of the webinar. So when it comes to paper 1, the most important aspect or one of the most important characteristics of this one is that it's a common paper. Okay, it's a common paper means out of around 81 subjects that the UGC or the UGC and NTA conducts exams, all subjects have this particular paper 1, which means that there are a lot of limitations in the side of UGC when they prescribe or when they prepare the syllabus for this particular paper, which means it should be comfortable for the students from all the 81 streams. There shouldn't be any particular heavy weightage on history. There shouldn't be any particular heavy weightage on geography or any other topics. So because it's a common paper. So when it comes to common paper, it should be equally or to the maximum possible extent, it should be favorable to all the subject students. And the next aspect when it comes to paper 1 is regarding our exam or our exam result. I can say that it's normally it's a neglected topic. Okay, if you consider paper 1, okay, you consider the paper 1, it can be said that considering or comparing with the paper 2, okay, comparing with the paper 2, it can be said that it's a neglected topic. Okay, comparing to paper 2, it's a neglected topic. You will be sure regarding that because most of us will be studying our paper 2 from our graduation time itself. Okay, we'll be studying paper 2 in your 3 year of graduation. Then you will be studying paper 2 from your in your 2 year of post graduation, and the paper 1 you would have stopped studying paper 1 from the your secondary or 10th or after the +2 level. Okay, after the +2 level you would have stopped studying those one. Sometimes there may be some optionals regarding during your graduation times, some subjects covering environmental science, etc. So but basically you will not be studying paper 1 during your graduation and post graduation time, and normally students start studying this particular paper 1 once the notification is out. Okay, once the notification is out, they started studying. Okay, they started studying for this particular paper 1, and most of them, very few started studying from the notification itself, and most of them start studying for paper 1 once the hall ticket is out. Okay, once the hall ticket is out, most of them will be starting studying. Okay, so that's the reason why paper 1 is mostly a neglected topic. Okay, paper 1 is mostly a neglected topic, and it seems that okay, most of the students are complaining that when compared to paper 1 and paper 2, they are a bit more. Okay, they are a bit more, find it difficult to score marks in paper 1. But the fact is that comparing to paper 1, when you look comparatively, comparing to paper 2, we can say that paper 1 is easy to score. Okay, paper 1 is easy to score comparing to paper 1. The reason is simple, because if you consider the different topics of paper 1. Okay, yeah, let me see, there are some doubts. Okay, so we'll be clarifying the doubts finally. So it's comparatively, paper 1 is comparatively easy to score when you compare it with your paper 2. I will give you an example. In paper 1, you have a topic known as data interpretation. You will be knowing a topic that seems to be a bit difficult by most of the students. So you have the data interpretation. So this particular topic, data interpretation, seems to be found to be difficult or hard by most of the students. But the interesting aspects related with data interpretation is that if you can dedicate 3 to 4 days completely for data interpretation, if you can go through almost 30 to 40 past data interpretation questions from past previous question papers, I can assure you that you can score 95% or more than 95% of the marks in data interpretation. Yeah, which means that it will be very easy for you to score 5 questions in data interpretation with an effort of almost 3 to 4 days. Okay, with an effort of almost 3 to 4 days, you can score what we can say almost 5 marks from data interpretation. Sorry, 5 questions from data interpretation. 5 questions means I can say, or we can say it's 5 into 2, that is 10 marks. Okay, 5. Yeah, just a minute. Okay, 5 into 2, that is 10 marks. Okay, that is 10 marks. 10 marks is almost 3.33 percentage. You will be knowing that 10 marks is almost 3.33 percentage. So if you can dedicate almost 3 to 4 days entirely for your data interpretation topic, it's sure that you are going to score 3.33 percentage marks. And it's not the same when you compare with the paper 2, because I don't know, I am a JRF holder in psychology. There is no topic in psychology. If I dedicate whole 3 to 4 days, I'm sure that I'm going to get 3.3 percentage marks. So that's the reason why I say comparing with paper 2. Okay, comparing with paper 2, it's easy. Okay, comparing with paper 2, it's easy to score marks in paper 1. And remember that it doesn't make any difference if you are scoring marks from the paper 1 or the paper 2. In the both cases, whether it's the paper 1 or the paper 2, whether it's your favorite topic or whether it's a boring topic, for one question you get 2 marks, which is about 0.66 percentage. Okay, that's all about 0.66 percentage. So when compared to paper 1, paper 2 is comparatively easy to score. And the next aspect is it's significant in JRF. Okay, it's very significant in JRF. Okay, yeah, some doubts are coming. Once I complete these 5 points, I will be clarifying all those doubts. Okay, so it's very significant in JRF. Okay, if you are I have found that many of my friends or many of my students telling me that it seems that they, with a lot of motivation, they start preparing for paper 1, and after a particular stage, it seems that it's not going to work. So what they will decide, they will pause the paper 1 preparation, and they will decide that I'm going to work more on my paper 2. I'm going to be super strong on my paper 2 so that I can overcome my shortcomings or my less marks in paper 1. But let me tell you something for sure. So as to qualify for JRF, you want to get good marks in both paper 1 and paper 2. Being strong in a single paper may fetch you net qualification, may make you net holder. But if your qualification but your aim, your ambition is all about qualifying JRF, you should be good. I'm not saying that you should be super good or you should be excellent in both papers, but you should be good in both papers, both paper 1 and paper 2. And in one of them, you should be super good or you should be excellent. So you can't neglect some topic of paper 1. Okay, you can't neglect some topic of paper 1, and you can say that you are weak, you are going to qualify JRF, or you are focusing more on paper 2. If your aim is net, you can have selected study. But if your aim is JRF, you can't neglect any of those topics. You want to study all the topics of paper 1 and paper 2. When coming to the syllabus aspect, I will be discussing that in detail. Then the 5th point is you have the pattern prediction. Okay, 5th point, you have the pattern prediction. Pattern prediction is all about what we can say. Compared to paper 2, you can predict the pattern of paper 1 to a great extent, especially if you are going through the previous papers. Okay, if you are going through the previous papers, it can be predicted to a great extent. And also, you know, in the last 2019 December, there is a 10 shift of exams. So we have 10 paper 1 papers. But if you belong to commerce or if you belong to English or psychology, you have a single shift of question papers. So when it comes to paper 1, or so when it comes to paper 1, you have many set of question papers so as to predict the pattern. But when it comes to your particular subject, there is only 1 or 2 question papers within a year. So it will be a bit difficult so as to predict the pattern. So compared to paper 2, it's also easy to predict pattern when it comes to paper 1. So these are the important aspects we can say when we compare with the paper 1 aspect. That is, it's a common paper, It's a neglected topic. It's comparatively easy to score. It's significant in JRF. Pattern prediction is possible to a great extent. Okay. Sir, if I take PhD in university through entrance, there is need for net qualification. Yeah, in most of the universities, it's required, and you can go through the university notification for the same purpose. Other than PhD, is JRF useful for any other thing also, sir? Okay, so technically we can't say along with JRF PhD it will give you fellowship and it will give you during the admission, but when it comes to some other PSU, public sector enterprises and other things, or some other private universities also, they are giving priority for net qualified students. So if there is a net qualified student along with the JRF qualified, they will give priority for JRF. So in some public sector enterprises, they are also giving job opportunity for net and JRF holders. Okay, DRDO and many other things also. So more specifically, it's all about research, it's all about fellowship, but along with that, there are some side benefits also, like jobs in public sector enterprises, and even some private institutes are giving priority, and there may be a chance for promotion, etc. So in that aspect also it will be useful in any of your academic future aspects. Okay, academic career expansion, when you come into fight with a net holder, if you have JRF, you are going to get a priority. Yeah, next out. Logical reasoning is also difficult. So what about the topic Indian means of logic? So I will be discussing about logical reasoning, and I will be discussing about Indian means of logic. But the important aspect, okay, but the important aspect is that you can't complete studying the logical reasoning within 3 or 4 days. You want to study the fallacies, you want to study the formal and informal fallacies, you want to study the square of a position, you want to study the categorical propositions, you want to study Indian pramanas, you want to study Indian logic, Venn diagrams, syllogism. So there are different topics. That's the reason why I didn't told you that if you take 3 or 4 days, you can completely study logical reasoning. But regarding pramanas, we can't say that if you focus on pramana, you are going to get 5 to 2 or 10 marks itself. So it's also a tough topic. I will be discussing a very brief regarding logical reasoning when it comes to our syllabus discussion. Sir, how cumulative percent for not calculate any weightage? Oh yeah, there is no weightage specifically for paper 1 and paper 2. Since paper 2 is for 100 questions, you have a total of 200 questions, it will have more weightage. The reason is that there is more marks. It's not all about 1 mark of paper 1 and 1 mark of paper 2 is same. Okay, both are same. There will be difference only since paper 2 there are 100 questions and paper 1 there is only 50 questions. So paper 2 will have a more priority or more preference if you are calculating in absolute mark terms. Okay, so we are moving to the next aspect. Next important aspect of this particular webinar. Okay, in this whole webinar, we will be discussing the important aspect we are going to discuss is how to prepare. Okay, yeah, just a minute. So we'll be looking how to prepare for this particular course. Okay, how to prepare for NTA NET paper 1. That's what we are going to discuss as a next aspect or next aspect of this particular webinar. So I will be discussing the preparation aspect in 7 different points. That is, firstly, I have to say syllabus is a lock. Then I will be discussing about previous question is a key. Then I have self-analysis, then mock test, being digital, being abnormal, and practice. So these are the 7 tips I have to say how to prepare. So definitely different persons will have different options, different opinion, different strategies. I'm going to discuss with you what strategies I followed during my preparatory phase. Okay, when I prepared for paper 1 or when I prepared for paper 2, what strategy I followed. Okay, sir, is there any crash course for paper 1? We have course. Okay, we'll be discussing later. Okay, finally. So just okay. So which means my score in paper 1 last time, my score was 43. Okay, 86% of the mark, 43. So I'll be discussing with you what was my preparation strategy. So these are the 7 things that I or we as a team gave priority during the preparatory stage. So the first aspect is syllabus is a lock. I can say you syllabus is a lock, which means you should be thorough with the syllabus. Okay, you should be thorough with the syllabus. Okay, you should go through the whole syllabus. It's very important that if I ask you a particular policies, governance, and administration, or if I ask you symbol and multi-diagrammatic relationships, if I ask you development and goals, okay, so whether it's a part of the syllabus or not, okay, whether it's a part of the syllabus or not. So it's very important because for the paper one, you will be knowing that we have around 10 topics. Okay, for the paper one, you will be knowing that we have around 10 topics. And since we have around 10 topics, all the 10 topics are, some of the 10 topics are very vast topic. For example, consider the people development and environment topic. It itself is a subject, paper to subject itself, environmental science. And when it comes to ICT, it's a, not exactly it's a computer application or it's a computer information and communication technology. It's another topic itself. Within the higher education system, you have the education aspect, and also you have policies, governance, and administration, which can be further categorized under political science or Indian polity. Similarly, you have the mathematical reasoning. A lot of topics coming under mathematical reasoning. You have the logical reasoning. You have the communication, teaching aptitude, research aptitude. Research methodology itself is a big topic. So if you are referring some books, or if you are going through random Google search, the number of materials available for you to study any of those topics will be very vast. You can get this much, a book with this much thickness for paper one, because there will be dealing most of the academic aspect related with environment, or most of the academic aspect related with the research methodology. But there is no need of you to study in detail regarding those topics for your paper one, until and unless your paper two topic also coincide with the paper one syllabus. Okay, so as to make sure you are thorough with the syllabus, especially there was a syllabus change last year, 2019 January onwards, there was a syllabus change. So you should be thorough with all the topics. I'm not saying that you should by heart with all the topics. What I'm saying is that if I tell you a particular topic, okay, evolution of education in post-independent India, okay, or if I say you formal Hatwa Bhasha or Vyapti, if I say you, you should be sure whether that belong to our syllabus or not. So that's the reason for that you want to go through the syllabus multiple number of times. Just reading is enough, just going through is enough. It will work. Okay, it will work. Okay, so it will work. So remember, knowledge, and when it comes to when we analyze the syllabus change from 2019 onwards, okay, from the 2019 January syllabus change onwards, we can see that there is no issue regarding to time now. Okay, when it comes to time, there is no issue, because previously you have 3 hours, 1 hour you have for paper one, and 2 hours you have for paper two. During that time, when it comes to paper one, time was a crucial factor. You want to attend all those meticulous data interpretation question, all those mathematical reasoning question, all those pramanas, logical reasoning questions within 1 hour. But there is no time limit for the 3 hour. The whole 3 hour, both paper one and paper two can be can be attended, which means you can take some time from your paper two to your paper one attending, which means that as of now, time is not going to be the key. Knowledge is going to be the key. Okay, knowledge is the key now, which means previously, if you are very fast in doing mathematical calculation, if you are very fast in doing arithmetics, and within 1 hour you can use the brilliance regards to maths, and you can avoid some topics or you can neglect some topics. Now you don't have such an option. You have to cover all the topics, because nobody will lose their marks by just because they didn't get time to attend a particular question. Everybody is not going to get time for attending all questions for which they know the answer. In such a scenario, it's very important that you know the max answer to maximum number of questions if you want to qualify that particular exam. So knowledge is the key, not the time. Based on the existing pattern, if you get 3 hour time for attending the both papers, then all topics should be covered. That's what I already told. You can't neglect or you can't avoid any topics either from the paper one or paper two if your dream of your plan is to qualify JRF. And also, when we analyze or when we analyze the 2019 December exam, it seems that you should give special priority for the latest topics. Okay, you should give special priority for the newly added topics. Okay, newly added topics should be given a special priority. So the reason is that it seems that when you analyze the questions of 2019 December exams, it can be seen that many questions are being asked from those topics which are newly added in 2019 January. For example, many questions are being asked from formal and informal fallacies of logical reasoning. Many questions are being asked from pramanas. When it comes to mathematical reasoning, many questions are being asked from time and distance, simple interest or interest and discount, then profit and loss. This the topic, profit and loss, time and distance, interest and discounting, this all are newly added topics. So analyzing the 2019 December question papers, it can be seen that they are now asking more questions from the newly added topics. So you have to give special priority. Remember, newly added topics mean those topics which are added from 2019 January onwards. So you should be thorough with those topics also. Okay, so next, as after the syllabus, okay, after the syllabus, we can say that the important aspect is regarding previous questions. Okay, after the syllabus, the yeah, just a minute, the important part is regarding the what we can say previous questions. Okay, so previous questions are very important. Okay, you have to cover all the possible maximum number of previous questions, and the reason why you should follow previous question is simple. Okay, it's you will have an idea regarding the pattern. I have told you when we were discussing about the importance of paper 1, compared to paper 2, it's easy to predict the pattern of paper 1. Okay, so it's easy to predict the pattern of paper 1. So if you go through the previous questions, okay, previous questions, it can be seen that, it can be seen that a lot of questions are following the same pattern. Especially a same pattern is being repeated in a data interpretation question. If you analyze all the 10 shift data interpretation questions of 2019 December, okay, it can be seen that, it can be seen that almost all questions are repeated questions. Okay, almost all questions are repeated questions in pattern. I'm not saying that exact question is being asked. Okay, but when you compare the pattern, some university will be renamed as some schools, some subject will be renamed as some classes. Okay, so it can be seen that from data interpretation, from mathematical reasoning, a lot of questions are being followed in the same pattern. And also you can find many a similar type of question. I'm not saying you exact questions. Normally NTA or UGC doesn't ask a repeated question, and especially from maths or other things, but they usually ask some similar to repeated question, like when it comes to logical reasoning, they ask about lexical definition or analogical definition or analogical statement, lexical or stipulative definition. When it comes to some sort of data interpretation, college percentage, and after that ratio, etc. So you will get some similar to repeated questions also if you go through all the previous questions. And when you analyze the recent question papers, it can be seen that when it comes to different topics, you can see different trends. And one thing is here, all trends are going to change. And one aspect is one among you asked me a question in the previous aspect that even though they have said that as per the syllabus notification, it is said that there are 10 topics coming under paper 1 and 5 questions will be asking from all the topics. Okay, 5 questions will be asking for all the topics as per the notification and as per the syllabus. And the syllabus in the last, there is a particular point. So but when we compare 2019 December question paper, it can be seen that the NTA didn't follow such pattern. In some shift of question papers, there are more questions from teaching aptitude. In some shift, there are more questions from logical reasoning. This 555 10 into 550 pattern hadn't followed. So from the upcoming exams, it may or may not be the same. We can't say that they may follow such pattern or they may revert back to the other pattern, because sometimes they may revert back to other pattern, because definitely many complaints would have gone, because they have specifically stated in the syllabus 5 questions from each topic. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether there will be 5 questions from all the topics or whether there will be variations of number of questions from the each topic. What matters is you are thorough, you have studied well all the 10 topics. Okay, you have studied all the 10 topics. So because when we analyze the previous question, it can be seen that fluctuation in number of questions are there, and when it comes to environment and other aspects, some current affairs related, something like the country, the order of countries producing greenhouse gases, the order of countries with highest per capita usage of water, renewable energy order, such sort of questions are also being asked. So in that aspect, so as to predict the pattern, so as to get idea regarding what type of questions are expected to be asked. Okay, what type of questions are expected to be asked, it's very important that you follow the previous questions, or you go through maximum number of previous questions possible for you. And the next aspect, so after being thorough with the syllabus, after going through the mock test, previous questions, the third aspect is mock test, which means you want to do the maximum number of question papers, maximum number of mock tests. Okay, and also the next point is also similar to that one. Okay, with both mock test and practice is almost same. You have to do the maximum number of question papers. You want to practice a maximum number of questions. Okay, you want to practice it. There is no particular limit for regarding how many mock tests you have to practice, how many questions you have to practice, or how many books you have to read. Okay, it's an age-old cliche question. Okay, you would have heard about that. Somebody will be asking, especially school students will be asking the one who qualified, how many hours you have to read, whether 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, or how many books you have to read, whether 2, 3 or 4. Okay, answer to all this type of cliche or usually asked question, that is how many hours you have to read, how many books you have to read, or how many mock tests you have to read, or how many previous question you have to go through. I have a simple answer: the most possible one, the maximum possible one. Okay, if you want to remember, it's a competitive examination. Okay, it's a competitive examination. You want to score better mark than your competitors. It's not a qualifying examination. For your post-graduation exam, if you study well, it doesn't matter whether your friends study or whether your competitors study, you are going to qualify. But when it comes to a competitive examination, it's very important you are scoring better than your competitors. So if you want to score better, okay, so if you want to score better than a competitor, or better than a friend, better than a mark than a friend who study for 2 hours, the only way is to study 3 hours. If you want to score marks more than 3, a friend who is studying 3 hours, study for 4 hours, provided both are studying in a balanced and equal and a productive way. So the only way is to study better than others. Okay, so if majority of them are studying 6 hours, study for 7 years. That's the answer. How many hours you have to study? That's the answer. How many books you have to read? Okay, so if most of them are reading 5 books, simple, read 6 books. Okay, that's the simple logic. You should be the most practiced student in your particular subject. Especially when it comes to JRF. There is no limit for the number. Okay, so make sure you are the one who are doing most number of mock tests. You are the one who are going through the most number of previous questions. You are the one who is practicing most practice questions. That's the only thing I have to say. There is no limit regarding the number of questions or the number of previous questions you have to practice. So that's what we have to say regarding practice aspect. We'll be making a bit faster. Then the next aspect is being digital. Because I told you, if you want to get a better marks than a student or a candidate who is studying for 8 hours. Okay, if you want to score better than a student who is studying for 8 hours, the simple logic is studying 9 hours. If a student is studying 9 hours, you want to study for 10 hours. It seems to be a simple logic. It seems to be highly impracticable. Okay, nearly impossible. I'm not saying that it's impossible, it's nearly impossible. But what you can say is that the only way in which you can spend most of your time studying is, okay, the only way you can spend most of your time studying is try to use the one thing that's always with you while you are awake. Okay, while you are not sleeping, simply. During the sleeping time also it's with you, that's your mobile phone. So try to use your mobile phone for your preparation, so that you can maximize your time hours, because there is no shortcut. The only way to qualify JRF is to become the maximum read student, the maximum studied student, the maximum practice student, the maximum previous question covered student, the maximum mock test done student. There is no other way, as of I'm concerned. I don't know any other way so as to get JRF. Okay, so that's it. Some doubts are coming here. I will be answering all those doubts once I have completed discussion about how to prepare. Okay, so many interesting questions are coming. So when it comes to being digital, try to use different YouTube channels. There are different YouTube channels. Diksha also has a YouTube channel, Diksha Classroom. There are many other YouTube channels also, Exam-Rise, many good YouTube channels are there. And you can also use different apps. You can use different websites that helps your preparation. Okay, so the aspect of being digital is that it's simple. It's very difficult to carry a hard copy of a book always and to read from everywhere. Using your mobile, using an app, you can even read from a cafe. Okay, or you can even read from a beach, or if you can even read in a traffic jam. You can read in a cafe also using a book, but you can even read in a unexpected traffic jam. So that's the reason why being digital is very important. Okay, analyzing the past few results, I know, okay, many of our students or many of our friends who qualified JRF and NET, they have spent a lot of times in digital medias, whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's a laptop, or the what we can say tablet. They have spent a lot of time on those reading. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you feel comfortable on reading on a laptop or whether you are comfortable on reading on a tablet. The thing is that you should get familiarized with that. And I suggest that if possible, try to do maximum number of mock tests in the computer itself. Many of the students complain the lack of concentration when they are doing an online exam in a computer, because most probably they will be doing an online exam in the computer for the first time in the NET examination hall. So what you want to do, try maximum number of mock tests within your laptop itself. If you feel migraine, or if you feel headache or uncomfortable while looking in the computer, the only way is looking more and more in the computer and getting adapted, getting acclimatized, or getting familiarized. There is no way, because you can't escape an online exam. Okay, you can't escape an online study. You can't escape an online exam mock test, because you are going to attend an online exam. If your aim is NET, your aim is JRF, you should be comfortable with reading on a laptop, with attending an exam on a laptop, because that's what you are going to do for a continuous 3 hours in an examination hall. So that's very important with regards to your preparation aspect. Being digital, try digital to the maximum possible extent. Okay. Yeah, the next aspect. Yeah, focus study. Focus study means many of the students, okay, they say, okay, I will be clarifying the doubts after completing these all points. Most of the students have they study whatever they can see in a particular book. They will buy an NTA NET paper one good book, or the book which is said to be good, and they will read randomly. They are not having any idea regarding which are the easy topics or which are the tough topics. Okay, they don't have any idea. Okay, they don't have any idea regarding that. So it's very important that you should be thorough with okay, you should be thorough with your weak topics and other things. Let me share a poll. Yeah, just a minute, this polling facility is not working. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so another important aspect, okay, another very important aspect is you should have a focus study. You should know what are your weak areas. Okay, you should know whether teaching aptitude is your areas or area of concern, or whether research aptitude is your area of concern. Okay, for that, it's simple how you can know which are your weak areas. You can attend 3 to 5 previous question papers, and you have to focus on the mistakes. Okay, during your preparation stage, make sure you are focusing on the mistakes. And after that, give special priority for those topics. You have to study more those topics in which you seems to be a bit weak, in which you are weak. And also, the most important aspect regarding preparatory stage is self-analysis. Self-analysis. You want to always ask a question. Okay, you want to always ask the question, am I going to qualify JRF this time? And also, am I one among the top 50 students in India? If you ask, when I am from psychology, and around 50 students, 50 to 57 students qualify JRF in psychology. It varies from subject to subject. I can just share you a document. That's it. Yeah. It's a JRF statistics of different subjects. Around from when it comes to commerce, around 630 JRF are there. When it comes to computer and application, around 142 JRF was there. When it comes to political science, there is around 220 JRF. When it comes to sociology, there is about 190 JRF. So it varies from subject to subject. Okay, it varies from subject to subject. It doesn't matter whether what your subject is. So it depends upon the number of students attended and many other criteria. Okay, many other criteria. So suppose you are from commerce and around 600 students qualify JRF from commerce every year. You have to ask yourself, out of the around 1 lakh students who are attending the exam in commerce, okay, out of around 1 lakh students, yeah, many of you are asking me what is the number of students qualifying JRF or NET from the particular subject, JRF economics, etc., English economics, etc. I will be posting that particular PDF document in your group itself. Okay, once after the this webinar is completed, I will be posting those in the group, so you can go through your subject. Okay, so that is not an issue. So suppose if you are a psychology student, you should be one among the top 50 studying student in the whole India. If you're one among the commerce student, one among the around 1 lakh students attending for JRF in the commerce, you should be one among the best 600 students in India with regards to college. What is the criteria for becoming one among the best 50? You should be the most read 50 student, one among the most read 50 student. You should be one among the most practiced 50 student. You should be one among the most previous question than 50 student. You should be one among the most mock test and 50 student. It's very important. Because for JRF, around 1% get qualified, or around 1 or less than 1% get qualified. So the only way you can make sure, okay, the only way you can make sure that you are going to qualify JRF is by making sure that you are one among the only 0.5% or one among the only 1% of student. Okay, only 1% of the student who is going to what we can say attend this exam. Okay, so it's very important. Make sure you are one among the top student regarding this one. So next, ask the question, self-analysis. That's what I have already told. So you're moving to the last 1 or 2 points regarding the preparatory phase, and after that we'll be discussing how the system works. That's be human but abnormal. Okay, it's a very important aspect. Be human but abnormal means be normal. It's not in the psychological terms, it's all about the general, not normal. By abnormal I means not normal, which means for an exam like NTA NET, normal means the result that the maximum number of students get. Attempting the exam is a normal one. Not qualifying for the exam is also a normal one. Qualifying for NET or qualifying for JRF is an abnormal aspect. It's not a normal aspect. That's what I mean by abnormal in literary terms. Which means you have to do things that is not done by normal students. It's said that one of the most important problem with our generation is that we expect a different result after doing the same efforts all the time. For the last net exam, you have given some effort. You didn't qualify net. The same, the next exam, this net exam, you also giving the same effort and you are expecting JRF. And the next one also, you are giving the same effort and you are expecting JRF. It's not going to work. If you want to get a different result, you want to give a different effort. Different means effort that's not done by normal student. Maybe reading 6 hours a day may seem not normal. So if you want to be get a abnormal or not normal result, you want to do a not normal work. You want to do maximum number of questions that which is not done by normal students or which is not done normally. Maximum number of question papers which is not done normally. Maximum number of mock tests which is not done normally. That's a simple shortcut source to succeed in NET JRF exam. Being the most practiced student, being the most unique student, and also the last and the most important aspect. Okay, last and the most important aspect, that is love the most hated one. Love the most hated one is with regards to your paper 1 topic, which means there will be certain topics in paper 1 also in paper 2 which seems to be a bit tough by most of the students. Let's take data interpretation. Data interpretation is said to be tough or seems to be tough by most of the students. So do you want to get a marks that's not usually scored by most of the students? It's simple. Try to love data interpretation. Try to be strong in data interpretation. Okay, try to be strong in mathematical reasoning. You may seem that mathematical reasoning is a very tough topic. Okay, but remember, it's not tough for you only. It's tough for most of the students. So try to do maximum number of data interpretation questions. Okay, maximum number of data interpretation questions you have to do. Okay, so that's what I mean by love the most hated. Try to love those topics which is usually hated by the students. It's very important with regards to your paper 2 also. When it comes to paper 2, in all paper 2, there will be some topics which usually hated by the students or which is usually seems to be bored by the students. Give special focus on those topics, because if you study those favorite topics, most of the students will be studying that. You will be reaching the same range as that of those students. You need an extra jump. You need an extra leap. You want to be better than them. For that, you want to study some topics that has been neglected by them, that hasn't been usually studied by them. So for this particular one, you want to study, for this particular gap, you want to study what we can say some topics which are not studied or which are neglected or which are avoided by most of the students. Okay, so that's a very important one. Remember, it doesn't matter whether you like the topic or you hate the topic, or whether the topic is interesting or whether the topic is bored. What matters is one question fetches you 2 marks, which is 0.66% of the total marks. That's mathematics. That's what matters in a result, nothing else. Okay, so very important. Try to love all the topics, especially those topics which seems to be bored or which are said to be very boring or very hard by other students. So these are the way how I can say you how you want to prepare for the exams. Once again, I will be just showing the points one by one. You have to go through the syllabus. You have to study the whole syllabus. Then you have to go through the maximum number of previous questions. Then you have to make a self-analysis always. You want to do maximum number of mock tests. You want to do maximum. You want to be digital in all possible ways. And you want to be abnormal, which means you want to do many things which are not done by normal students, and you want to practice maximum number of questions. So these are the things. So before going to the next aspect, how this mechanism can be practicalized, I will be just clarifying your doubts. Let me go through the doubts. Yeah, let me see what are your doubts so far. Yeah, then give some notes on intelligence here. You cannot go for that. Can we attend an exam during pregnancy? Yeah, it's result. Yeah, there is no condition regarding what should be your health condition. The only thing is you are healthy enough to attend an exam. Yeah. Next exam, do you have any idea regarding Abraham, do you have an idea regarding when the next exam? Yeah, let me tell you. I don't have an idea regarding when the next exam is going to happen. Okay, I think that even NTA doesn't have an idea regarding that. Even the HRD ministry also don't have an idea regarding that. If they have, they would have clarified the issue. The thing is that to conduct the exam, to make sure that the nation or the country is in a suitable situation to conduct the exam, and deciding a date upon that, and informing all the students regarding the date, and make sure all the students have a facility to attend the exam in a healthy and a proper way. It's the duty of NTA, it's the duty of UGC, and it's the duty of the responsible government ministry. As of now, it's not our duty. Our duty is to study and study. Remember, in the end, exam is going to happen within 2 or 3 months, or within after 4 months, or after 5 months, or after next year. It's going to happen, and hopefully we are going to be here, provided we take all necessary precautionary steps, hopefully. So it's going to happen one day, and you can have a lot of justification for not preparing by saying that it's a highly ambiguous time, it's a COVID time, we don't have no clarity regarding what we can say when the exam date is over, it's colliding with our PG exam. Okay, we can't get motivated. First of all, let them decide about the date, and we will start. You can have a lot of excuses for not preparing well. Remember, you can have excuses and you can qualify JRF. You can't have both. You can't have both. So blaming on the existing situation for not preparing is not correct. Okay, provided if you are in such a healthy and a normal situation. There are many aspects in our country in which the students are not in a preparing mode, or they are going through a lot of health challenges. So we want to empathize with them, we want to pray for them. I am telling that if you are in a healthy situation in your home, and if you have all the online facilities, there is no chance for you to not prepare. Okay, not prepare. And in the end, after the result happened, remember, in the history of NTA-NET, in my opinion, in the history of NTA-NET, we are going to be the generation who got the maximum number of days for preparation. For the past 3, 4, or 5 months, we are staying or in our house. Okay, 3 or 4 months. We will be the generation that get maximum number of times for preparing a particular exam. I think and I hope and I pray it should be the same in the history also. Future, no generation or no students is going to get such a chance. Hopefully, let's pray we are not going to in the same situation again. So remember, you are the students, or we are the people with maximum number of time for preparation. So what excuse do you have for not preparing well, provided if you have all the sound condition? I know everyone is going through tough times. So if you have the sound condition, if you have the normal healthy condition, so what excuse we have? Don't bother about the examination date. Let it come when the NTA and the government feel it's the time to have the exam. It's their duty. They are our government. They will take care of the thing. Okay, they will take care of the thing, and let them do that. Let us believe them. Okay, let's prepare well. When it going to, there is, and the most of us students have confusion. I am studying from a lot of distance world in some other distant places, and if the exam date, where should be my center, whether I can go and I can attend? Definitely, NTA knows, the government knows, all are going through the same criteria. And most probably, not for sure, they will give you a chance to change your examination center once the date is declared. Definitely, they will give you a chance. Because then it's not the problem faced by you alone, it's faced by the throughout the country. People are facing the same issue. They will give you a chance to change the examination, and many of us have a doubt whether it's lagging in such a way that whether my PG will complete, whether my age limit will be going beyond. Definitely they are also going to provide relaxation in that aspect. If there is any such situation, they may provide relaxation regarding 6 months. Is many of the aspect it is expected. Okay, if it is going to be longer. So remember, it's not an excuse, okay, for it's not an excuse for you to not study by saying ambiguity, by putting the your lack of preparation on the anxiety. Okay, so how can we sustain our concentration or steady mood? We can say it's all about your desire or your purpose for net. Okay, if you want JRF for sure, you will not think about anything else. I mean, you will try to study maximum. The person who concerned when is the next exam, whether it will be the August, okay, will be those persons who are not preparing well. They are not ready to prepare well also. Okay, they are not ready to prepare well also. They are just looking for excuses. Okay, they are just looking for excuses. We'll be discussing some more doubts in the later stage. Somebody has you asked from different aspect, different interesting doubts. So as of now, I have discussed about some strategies of how to prepare. Okay, we have discussed about some strategies of how to prepare. Now onwards, I will be discussing how the system of Diksha works. I mean, I have shown you a strategy. Okay, I have shown you a strategy, and within the strategy, okay, within the strategy, I have said that some of them are ambiguous, some of them are ideas. You want to practice the maximum number of questions, you want to practice the maximum number of questions or maximum number of mock tests. So next I will say you how Diksha works with regards to all this aspect. Okay, we are moving to the last aspect of the our session, how Diksha works, and I'm going to explain how Diksha works for you to know a model of a practicable version of the strategy we have already discussed. If you are interested to be a part of Diksha, you can be a part of Diksha. If you are not, no issue, you can familiarize or you can formulate a strategy of your own the same way. Or if you know somebody else who have a same strategy or the strategy with a better execution plan, you can move with them. So whenever I say about a strategy, whenever I say about a plan, it's better if I can show you a practicable method. So next aspect, I'm going to discuss about the practicable methods or the practicable aspects of how this preparation can be done. Okay, how this preparation can be done. Then you have how Diksha works. So I will be discussing all the one preparatory stage that we have already discussed. And you can follow those steps, and definitely you can implement those steps yourselves. There is no issue. So I told you have to cover all the topics. So as to make sure that you are covering all topics, okay, so as to make sure that you are covering all topics, one of the important aspect is to have I will let you know how Diksha makes sure that we cover all the topics. We have a Diksha progress report. I think it's visible in the screen. Okay, Diksha progress report, in which we have put, it's just a syllabus in an Excel file. We have put all those topics, okay, in an Excel file. It's freely available. If you want, I can post you in the group once after the webinar. Okay, so our team will be also posting the link in the description chat box also in the end. So teaching and objectives. So every topics, okay, every topic is kept as, you can see, as around 129 topics. So you want to, once you read, you want to click a tick on the read box. When you studied, click and tick on the study box. You want to revise 1, revise 2, revise 3. So if all these boxes are tick, okay, by before the end of syllabus, definitely you are having enough time. Okay, you should have a decision. The more the exam is going to being lagging, the more I am going to be prepared. The more I am going to be prepared, the more chance I am going to be a JRF holder. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we can say that teaching concept. So we have a Diksha progress report. It's nothing new, it's nothing innovative. It's just a syllabus, UGC net syllabus, that we just change into Excel format, into an Excel table, which we call as Diksha progress report, which is freely available, which we can post it in the group also. Okay, we'll be posted in the group also. You can take a printout of that and you can use that printout to make sure, okay, make sure that your preparation is going well. Our team has posted the link in the description itself, okay, in the chat box itself. So if you want, okay, you can yeah, you can go through the progress. So using this particular progress report, Diksha makes sure that all the topics are being covered. Okay, all the topics are being covered from Diksha side and from the student side also. So you can take the printout and you can have your own strategy. And next is all about tests, exams, and practice questions. So let me tell you regarding Diksha examination platform. Diksha have an examination platform that's available in Android, App Store, and website also. And all the exam will be conducted in the XAT and TNET pattern. You have 150 plus sample sets. We have more than 20 mock tests, 57 previous questions, extra sample sets on tough topics. So around we have more than 300 of question papers. So if you want to have a sample regarding how Diksha system works, Diksha mock test work, or previously I told you, you should be sure, you should have an awareness regarding which are your weak topics. So as to know which are your weak topics, just install Diksha Learning app, okay, and available in both Play Store and App Store. The link will be posted in the group and by our team. You can just choose Diksha free paper 1 preparation. After that, if you go to the test section, free sign up, it's a free sign up. From the test section, you can see 2 mock tests, Diksha free mock test 1 and Diksha free mock test 2. So you can click on the green and you can attend the test. And for our students, there will be a lot of hundreds of students. So the test will be XAT, that of NTA NET pattern. We will be conducting the test in XAT and NTA NET pattern. Okay, this will be not visited, marked, answered, reviewed, etc. There will be category. And once you attend the exam, you will get an immediate result, and the immediate result will be provided with Diksha Deep Analytics system. In Diksha Deep Analytics system, you will have reports regarding your overall performance, topic-wise marks, and comparison with the topper. Okay, so you have comparison with the topper. You have the overall performance. For example, you attend a test, you should go to the analytics one. You can just freely attend that test and go to the analytics one. This will be the thing you will be seeing. There will be test analysis, there will be question and answers, time taken in section, time taken in topic, comparison, solution, etc. So in general test analysis, you will get the total students attended the test, your rank, total mark secured, total time taken, total questions, wrong questions, percentage, etc. You will get all the detailed analytics. And when you select the topic wise statistics, you will get teaching aptitude questions, your mark, your time, research aptitude questions, your mark, your time, and also you will get subject wise distribution of the marks also. So if you attend 2 free Diksha mock tests from Diksha Learning app, you will have a clarity regarding which are your strong topics. Okay, which are your strong topics, which are your weak topics. You will definitely have an idea regarding those things. Okay, whether it's a teaching or whether it's a research or whether it's a logical one. And also if you choose the solution aspect, you have the detailed solution. Okay, it's a deductive reasoning question, so for that you have 5 or 1 a single paragraph explanation. So if it requires a page, you will have a page explanation. For all the mathematical questions also, you have an explanation. And also another important aspect during your preparatory stage is to know what is your level of preparation comparing with a topper. So Diksha provides an option for comparing your preparation with the topper. That means after attending every exam, you can have a comparison with the topper. For example, total students, okay, your rank, the topper rank, your mark, total mark secured, okay, topper mark secured, total time. So you can have a 1 by 1. You can have a topic wise. You can have an exam wise comparison with the topper. With this topper will be the topper in almost all the Diksha online platform, whether it's online course or the classroom course or the live session. So you can have an option. So you can have an option to compare your marks with the topper. Okay, you will be having an option to compare your marks with the topper. That will be provided as a part of what we can say this app. And also you can attend from the lab also. Okay, 175 remaining exams are the incomplete exams, missed exams. So there is a mechanism. So moving to the last aspect, you have the previous questions. Okay, as a part of Diksha has an option for discussing all previous questions. We provide chance to attend 57 previous question papers in XAT and TNET pattern. That means we have question papers from 2004 December to 2019 December, all the 10 shifts. Okay, 2019 December, all the 10 shifts. I can assure you that as of now, this all the 10 shifts are not available anywhere in the Google itself. We have released the ebook. Now onwards, it may be available. Okay, so it's very difficult to get question papers these days because only it's available for 2 to 3 days and it's on in a separate PDF format. So we have 2004 December to 2019 December paper 1 question papers, around 57 previous question papers, and we provide an option for all our students to attend all these 57 previous question papers in exact NTA net pattern. Exact NTA net pattern, the same pattern that we have shown you in the previous screen, or the same pattern you have seen in the laptop while you were attending the exam last time. Okay, so you can attend all these 57 previous question papers, and all these question papers are available with all the analytics, Diksha Deep Analytics system, which means you have the rank, you have the category wise mark, you have the comparison with the topper. Also, very importantly, you have, or we have, the explanation for all these 3100 plus questions. So 2004 December to 2019 December, all questions are provided with the explanation, and the latest question papers are provided with the video explanations also. Okay, rest all are provided with the written explanation also, which means along with that we are providing all these 57 question papers as category wise question papers. We have 12 sets of teaching aptitude previous questions, 12 set of mathematical aptitude, 12 set of reasoning aptitude, and all the category wise previous question papers is also available in our platform. Everything, remember, everything is available with explanation. Everything is available with the verified key. And these 57 previous question papers, you can attend more than one time. It's not a single time, you can attend more than 1, 2 or 3 times. Okay, depending upon the settings we are doing for that particular purpose. So Diksha provides all the previous questions from 2004 December to 2019 December, all the shifts. And mock test, as of now, we have 20 complete mock test of exact NTA net pattern. Along with that, as we have already discussed, you have the chance to attend 57 previous question papers also as mock test. Next, the last aspect, you have the practice sets. There is a 10,000 rule. Sometime you would have heard, if you want to be a genius in a field, you want to practice a minimum of 10,000 times. So when it comes to JRF, let me tell you, if you want to qualify JRF, you want to practice a minimum of 10,000 questions. Okay, it's just it varies from person to person, but it's a general assumption. So in Diksha, through the 20 mock tests, we provide 1,000 questions. Through the 57 previous question papers, we provide 3,100 questions. Through 40 practice set questions of 10 questions each, we provide 400 questions. Through the 60 practice set questions of 15 questions each, we provide 900 questions. Through the 50 practice set questions of 20 questions each, we provide 1,000 questions. Through classroom discussion, online or offline, we provide 300 questions. In total, we have 6,700 questions with explanation for your paper 1 preparation. Okay, and when it comes to subject to psychology or something, we cover our target of more than 10,000 questions. And we have a Diksha Classroom app, and we have a Diksha Learning app. Link will post. Diksha Classroom is our online course providing app. Diksha Learning is our examination app. And the last aspect, I told you, self-analysis is very important. Diksha has a personalized progress tracking system, which shows you regular recording of marks, topic covered, topics started, etc. And you will get a reminder when failing to attend the questions, and also individual guidance from JRF Net qualifies. You can have a personalized monitoring for JRF holders. So you will have an idea regarding where is your preparation going, how many tests you have attended, whether you are missing test frequently last 1 or 2 weeks, your preparation is under which chart. Okay, so everything is a Diksha Deep Analytics system, and a Diksha progress tracking mechanism provide a status regarding how your preparation is going on. Okay, a status regarding how your preparation is going on. And as I told you, loving the most hated, Diksha gives special priority for data interpretation, mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning, pramanas, formal and informal fallacies, categorical propositions. Okay, everything we are giving special priorities. We have topic wise sample sets and individual topics. So that's the thing we have to say. So before moving to the last aspect of further doubts you have, let me tell you something regarding what are the different programs being offered by Diksha. Diksha offers both free programs as well as paid programs. As a part of free programs, Diksha offers paper one free WhatsApp broadcast. Okay, we have a paper one WhatsApp broadcast program. Then you have in which you will get regular updates, materials, video links of about paper one materials. Then we have paper two WhatsApp broadcast. As of now, we have broadcast for psychology, commerce, economics, social work. We are starting in some other subject also. We have a Diksha Learning free mock test series. We have already discussed in the Diksha Learning app, and we have a Diksha Classroom YouTube channel. And we have, if you want to be a part of any of this broadcast, you can send join. For paper one broadcast, you can send join to 9847478690. You can just send join. And for other subjects, whether it's social work or whether it's economics or commerce, you can just send join psychology to this number, join commerce to this number, join economics to this, join social work to this one. So everything is free. You will get practice question, previous question, mock test materials, etc. of a miniature form. Then we have Diksha exclusive program. For paper one, Diksha have paper one a live online course. We have paper one complete online course. This is our major one, paper one complete online course, in which we discuss all the 120 plus topics in more than 300 videos, okay, provided through our app. And along with that, all those 6,500 questions with explanation are provided. All that 57 previous question papers are provided. 20 plus mock tests are provided. Okay, 150 plus practice sets are provided. So that is paper one complete online course. So we have paper one mega practice course, mock test series along, and previous question along. All these facilities are being provided by Diksha. Okay, so you have now it's around more than 300 plus video classes, and it's 24/7 availability. And the important aspect is everything that Diksha offers is available up to 1 year, which means you can use it for the upcoming September or October exams, upcoming if you are next, hopefully if you are not preparing this time, for the December exam and the next June exam also, or whenever you qualify JRF. So it's all facilities are available for almost 1 year. And you have mega practice course, we have a live classroom, then we have a previous question paper course. Similarly, we are having courses in with regards to psychology also and other subject also. So that's it. So this is our contact details. You can visit our website. If you are interested in being part of any of our courses, you can put it in the chat box, or just after the session, we'll be putting the details in the WhatsApp group. You can use a link, or you can contact my number. This is the Diksha office number, and this is my number. You can contact in any of those numbers. And before that, if you have any more doubts remaining, you can ask me in the chat box. I will be discussing any doubts. If there is any more doubts, there are definitely some doubts I was unable to answer in that particular time. Yeah, because we were going through a flow. Yeah, please share all the links in the WhatsApp. Okay, we'll be putting all the links in the WhatsApp. Our technical team will be putting that. Please share syllabus analysis for subjects. Okay, we'll be discussing some other time. We can have a syllabus analysis later. Okay, then if there is any more doubts regarding any aspect, okay, any more doubts you have regarding preparation? Okay, we'll try to share the recording of this video through our YouTube channel. All the links will be provided. Yeah, so I think there is no more doubts. Almost all the doubts are covered here. And make sure you are preparing very well. And I already told you, it doesn't matter when the next exam is going to happen. What matters is whether it's in the September or whether it's October. Yeah, Husna Shireen, when will be the next coaching starts? You can contact in our mobile number. The online course is already active. You can join and you can avail the facilities from today itself. Okay, so that's the thing. You can, our team will contact you in the group. The link will be added, and also in the screen you can see 2 numbers. You can contact in any of the numbers, or the WhatsApp contact is also provided. Any of the numbers so as to get more details. Okay, we have done one psychology webinar before, and we are also planning to done different psychology webinar in both English as well as some in the Malayalam also. Next week, I think we have a commerce webinar. We'll be having continuous webinars and other things. And if any doubts regarding any of our courses or anything, you can contact in the number in the screen, and you can also be a part of our paper one broadcast. Remember, make sure you are preparing well, you are having a good strategy. Many among you have said me that they are a bit frustrated. They have prepared for some government exams and there are some government issues, weightage and other things. Remember, those issues are being faced by everybody. It's not only for you. Okay, it's not only for you. So what you want to make sure is that you are preparing well, whatever the situation is. It's simple. If there is some issue facing around, and if you become frustrated or if you become angry, if the issue resolved, make sure you are angry or you are frustrated. But your frustration or your boredom or your depression or your anything happens to you, or any frustrated events doesn't change the situation. It's simple to enjoy the situation or utilize the situation. I'm saying to maximum utilize that situation. Okay, so we also have previous question ebooks. We'll be just posting it here. All those 57 previous question in our free ebook is available with the answer key. Explanation is available as a part of our course only, but ebook is we also have released ebook of English. We have also released ebook of commerce. Then we have released ebook of psychology. We are going to release ebook of sociology, and many other aspects also we are going to discuss. So make sure in the end, what are we going to say the next generation? What are we going to say our children? If they ask you when you got doctorate or why you didn't got doctorate, somebody, whether are you going to say them that it was during the COVID times, it was during that ambiguous time, it was during that frustrated times, that's the only reason I can't study, I can't concentrate, and I didn't qualify. Whether that's going to be your answer, or whether you are going to say the future generation, even during those tough, ambiguous, frustrated, never ending COVID times, I prepared and I qualified JRF. That's the important aspect. Which is going to be your answer? Okay, can you organize different webinar on different parts of paper on okay, let us plan about that. Hopefully we'll be doing that. Okay, different ebook link is also provided in the chat box. So make sure you are going to prepare, you are going to qualify JRF, and make sure you are having a good strategy, you are preparing well. And if you have your own strategy, it's okay. If you'd like to be a part of Diksha, we are also happy. We can be a team, we can have a personal guidance mechanism. You can practice all those questions, all those question papers, all those 57 previous questions, 300 plus question papers, everything you can practice. Okay, so any more doubts? Okay, we are moving to the last 2 minutes of the webinar. All the links, everything will be posted by our team in the group just after the webinar. In the meantime, they will be start posting those. Yeah. Is there any online course on social work? Yeah, we are launching an online course on social work. You can contact our team personally. We are launching online course on economics, commerce, and many other subjects. Okay, you can contact our team, or you can just visit our website, which are the different facilities available. Okay. Rachel, sorry, as of now we don't have a management. We are it's under preparatory stage. Okay, social WhatsApp contact is also being provided. Yeah. Okay, as of now, we have started some sort of courses in paper one, psychology, commerce, economics. Then we have social work, etc. Rest other topics are being under construction. History, tourism, rest all are under construction. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all. Thank you, everybody. Once again, if you want to know more about Diksha contacting numbers, if possible, be a part of the team, or if you can join our WhatsApp broadcast, and make sure you are utilizing, or you are going to set the future generation. Even during the COVID time, you prepared well and you qualify JRF. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Thank you all.